This episode of the KIPS Personal Trainer Application Podcast is brought to you by Time to Train Fitness, your home for on-demand workouts for every level of fitness. Exercise with amazing certified instructors that want you to push through any barriers. At Time to Train Fitness, you'll find quality workouts across 6 class formats, including indoor cycling, HIIT, bar, yoga, strength training, and dance cardio. Stream brand new classes releasing every week in our over 425 on-demand library. Use the code in the description to view all the membership options and to start a free 5-day trial. Get ready to press play on your next workout.
Welcome to the KIPS Personal Trainer Application Podcast. My name is Tyler Valencia, and I'm the president of KIPS and Time to Train Fitness. We have a topic that is potentially a huge market for those in the fitness industry, those wanting to grow their own business, try something on their own. We're going to be talking about Bootcamp today. And we have my friend from across the globe, Jono Petrohilos. We had to work on that. I want to make sure I got it right. And we're going to talk about Bootcamp, all that kind of great stuff. First of all, thank you for coming on the podcast.
No, thank you, Tyler, and thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. Being Australian, Jono is a very Australian name. So a lot of people in the US get it wrong. You know, they say Jono, they say Jono. If it's a Spanish person, I get Jono a lot. And then the surname is Greek, you know. So unless you're from Greek, you know, not many people pronounce that. So
Yeah.
if anything else, thank you for pronouncing both of those names correctly, Tyler.
I love it. I love it. And with coming on the podcast, I know I always have to work with the time zones on this one. So that's always another shout out to you for being flexible with your schedule coming on and making this work. To kind of set the stage now, can you share a little bit of your background in the fitness industry?
Yes. So I did a few odd jobs to start with, like most people. My first sort of serious role was running a boot camp. I was working at a franchise, a big boot camp franchise over here in Australia. There were over 75 different franchises across Australia and New Zealand.
Wow.
And you were ranked on how good you were, 1 being the best, 75 being the worst. Now, when starting off, take a guess. What do you think I was ranked, Tyler? 1 being the best, 75 being the worst. When starting off, I've got to preface that so I don't make myself look too bad.
For the podcast, of course, I wanted to first say 1, but I know that it's starting off. So I'm going to say 35.
I wish. You're too kind, Tyler. I wish I was 35. I was ranked 75. Dead last. Yeah. And I'm competitive. You know, I come second at something, I get upset. Third at something, I'm borderline depression. I came 75th. So it wasn't good to start with. And we had to go to a convention at the end of the year with all different 75 bootcamp instructors. And I didn't want to go because I was the worst one there. And it wasn't a confidence thing. I didn't think I was the worst one there. It was statistically proven I was the worst. There was a pie graph showing you where I was ranked. That's how you know you're bad at something. There's a pie graph telling you you suck. So didn't want to go. But I bit the bullet and went because I was kind of like, if I don't go, they're going to kick me out of the franchise. If I do go, maybe they'll kick me out, but maybe they won't. So I'll go because I actually like it. Even though I'm not good at it, I like running boot camps. Went to this franchise, best thing ever. I had to have a meeting with the franchise owners off the bat. And they were like, look, Jono, they go, we got good news and we got bad news. The bad news is as a boot camp instructor, you suck. You're coming 75th. You've seen the pie chart. But the good news is you can actually, I'll go back a step there. They asked me, they were like, you know, why you coming 75th? What's going on? And I was like, it's not my fault. You know, there's all this competition. Every second person's a personal trainer. There's a new gym that's opened up. They're charging $10 a week, you know. So there's all this competition. Also, you know, you guys are meant to be doing the marketing. All the leads you're getting me are crap. You know, none of these leads are signing up. You know, they're tire kickers. You know, and then also it's the weather. I'm here in Sydney. It rains in winter. You know, no one's going to sign up for a boot camp in winter. I basically gave him every excuse in the book. I blamed the government as well, I think. Donald Trump, you know, he wasn't in power then, but I blamed him anyway. Anyway, and then that's when they said, Jono, we got good news and bad news. The bad news is you suck. The good news is you can actually do something about it because at the moment, you're blaming everybody else but yourself. Maybe it's not the competition's fault that you suck. Maybe it's your fault you haven't done enough to be better than the competition. What CEC courses have you done? What conferences have you gone to? And I'm like, I get my 20 CECs every 2 years. They're like, Jono, that's the bare minimum. Of course, if you do the bare minimum, you're going to be down the bottom. And they're like, oh, the marketing sucks, does it? Is it the marketing that sucks, or is it you that aren't good at sales? What sales training have you done? What business coaches have you hired? What books have you done? And I was like, oh, good point. They're like, and also, if our marketing sucks so much, why don't you go out and do some of your own? And I'm like, never thought of that. And then they were like, the weather. They're like, Jono, you're blaming the weather. You can go out and hire out like a school hall or a church hall for $20. You can solve your biggest problem for $20, but you're too busy sitting here blaming everyone else but yourself. And I was like, okay, I think I know why I was coming 75th. Anyway, they were like, look, Jono, you're a good guy. You're a good trainer. You're just blaming everyone else. What we want you to do is for the next year, don't blame anyone else but yourself. Take some responsibility. Hey, do something to be a better trainer. Get better at business. Get better at sales. Invest in a freaking school hall for $20 so you're not running them outside. Just do that for a year and see what happens. So I did that for a year, and I sort of took it to the next level. I did a heap of courses, read a heap of books, listened to podcasts, did all the good stuff. 12 months later, I went back to that same convention. Now, what do you think I was ranked, Tyler?
Let's hear it. Number one.
Number one, yes.
Yeah.
So, super exciting. Went back number one. And then I actually opened up and got to 100 clients at that boot camp and had a retention rate of 104%.
Wow.
So every single client came back. We were running 12-week challenges. Every single client would come back plus previous ones that previously left.
Wow.
And then opened up another location, similar sort of figures. And then from there, I was like, okay, I've got a system. I feel I can, this will work no matter who. If it works for me and I was coming 75th out of 75, I feel I could give this to anyone and they could do it. So other trainers started to say, Jono, how are you doing it? What numbers are you getting? What marketing are you doing? What retention are you doing? What workouts are you doing? And I would sort of send them, well, read this book and do this course and listen to this podcast. And they're like, haven't you just got like a cheat sheet or something? And I was like, okay, I think there's a course in this. So I put together a course, how to run a successful boot camp. That's actually the best-selling CEC course in Australia at the moment. That's a whole nother story there, and one of the most, I think, the most highly reviewed as well. So that's a bit of my background. I used to run a successful, and then it got to the point where I spent most of my time. Now I'm in the education space. So instead of me actually running that boot camp, I've got a heap of courses, but the major course is my boot camp course, which helps other trainers to achieve that similar result.
I love it. I love it. Before we jump into more bootcamp stuff, there's one piece of that story I want to talk about because it's something that I feel like a lot of people will benefit from. And that's probably that conversation you had with the owners and the process of managing, but helping people improve because of whether they are talking about things that they feel like are wrong, but the way that they've probably worded it to you in terms of, okay, what can you do to focus on yourself to improve? I think that's a lot of, I'll say where we sometimes falter as individuals as we look at our competition. What's our competition doing? Well, they're doing this. Well, they're doing that. But you're not really focusing on the issue yourself. What are those steps that you can take in order to improve and then consistently grow on those? In your opinion, did you feel like you learned more from that conversation that probably you apply now with individuals that you work with?
Oh yeah. That conversation for me was game changing. It's like my whole life basically revolves around that one conversation.
Wow. Yeah. I could see that. I could see that with even probably, I know from a manager standpoint, myself, those were the hard conversations, but you feel like you have to make them because you could impact them in so many more ways than just business. Their approach to life, their approach to how they look at themselves, things that don't even have to do with the day-to-day work. It's way more than that. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. It's a lot. It's one of those things like it wasn't really, it was half a business conversation, but it was more a life skill conversation. It's more like, hey, if you want to be successful at whatever you do, business, fitness, relationships, whatever you put in your mind to, you've got two choices, right? You can either, or if you're not successful off the start, you've got two choices. You can either blame other people for why you weren't successful. It may make you feel good short term, but it's not going to help you get any closer to the goal. Or you can say, hold on, the only reason I didn't get there was because I didn't do this well enough. And I'm not saying, blame you. Like, it's not really blame yourself and, I'm not good enough, yada, yada. It's just see it for what it is. Okay, I didn't win.
Yeah.
What could I have done better so I can get better next time? And just looking at it like that, it's a different life philosophy that will help in whatever. And a quote, I think, I don't know if they used it at the time or I've heard it since, was essentially, I never lose, I either win or I learn. And I love that quote because it's like, if you go out and you win, great, you won. If you didn't win, I don't look at that as a negative. I don't see failure as a negative thing. I've taken failure out of my vocabulary. I've cut it out of my dictionary. It's just, if I don't win, okay, why didn't I win? And what can I do better the next time?
Yeah, I like that a lot. And that's one of those questions whenever I've gone on previous podcasts. And I think we've even potentially had a conversation about this in the past, was about things I wish I would have done better in the past. And I know that I've answered on other podcasts. And I always say, well, I have that approach of, well, I learned so much through that process that I can't really say. And those are always the harder ones for me to figure out when I'm trying to answer them when I'm a guest. And it's because it's harder because everything you learn what you didn't like, what you did like, and what you want to make sure you avoid in the future. And without those experiences, you're just pulling out of thin air. And I think those are the ways that you grow as a professional, as a business owner, and so many different ways. So I love that piece of that story. And I love that you still talk about it. You bring it up and you share it because of what you got from it, which is really great to hear. Bringing this back now to boot camps, and a little backstory about myself that maybe people don't know is that I used to run a boot camp. That's actually how I got my first taste of being an entrepreneur, was a boot camp. And funny story is that one of the companies I own, Time to Train Fitness, started out as an outdoor boot camp. We won 3 times best boot camp in Long Beach, California, 2-time best personal trainer, all that kind of stuff. But we started out in a park running a boot camp. And I really look back on those and feel like I learned so much about business. And going into different companies, I always say that I pulled from that approach, being a small business and now taking it to a bigger scale with KIPS, Time to Train Fitness, as we relaunched that. So, Jono, with your business, boot camps, outdoor boot camps, and looking at the pandemic, what are your thoughts moving into 2022 and how boot camps can really help someone wanting to grow themselves?
As the trainer or as the participant? As the trainer, right?
As a trainer, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think they're going to be huge in 2022 and even bigger still. I'll just rephrase it a little bit because my take on boot camps and outdoor boot camps is maybe, I don't know if it's slightly different or slightly extended. So the main part is obviously your outdoor boot camp. But I think in today's world, there's also got to be an online component as well. So what I mean by that is it would look something like this. I'll just give a basic model or one of the basic models we teach in our course. It would look something like this. Here's Tyler's outdoor boot camp. It's $50 a week. You get 5 or 6 sessions a week. You also get a 12-week home program. You also get Tyler's basic nutrition guidelines. You also get Tyler's clean eating recipe ebook. You also get Tyler's clean eating smoothie and shake ebook. You also get access to Tyler's closed VIP Facebook group, and we do cool little things in there. Week 2 is the no sugar challenge. Week 4 is the walking challenge. Week 6 is the hydration challenge. Week 8 is the fun run. Week 10 is the bring a friend week, yada, 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 right? So it's kind of like, even though it is a boot camp, it's like a whole encompassing thing, the major part being the boot camp there. Now, if we go, I'm a huge fan of the fitness trends. Do you follow the ACSM fitness trends, Tyler?
I don't, but I have heard of them.
Okay, cool. So I follow them every year just to see what's going on. And I've got them on my screen now. So I'll read out the top 10 and we'll see how many of these boot camps kick off. So number 1 is online training. Now, I think online training is okay. And I know you're a fan of it with what you do. I like it combined with a boot camp. I think boot camp with online training is great. It gets the best of both worlds. The second thing is wearable technology. Great in boot camp as well. You can wear your Apple Watch. You can use MyZone, whatever it may be. The third one is body weight training. Huge for boot camp again. The fourth one is outdoor activities. Huge for boot camp again. And let's even spend a minute there. A lot of people, there's the whole, I don't know if there's a thing over here where we call it the third space. A lot of like gym and studio owners want their gym to be the third place for people. Most people have 3 sort of places, right? Their home, their work, and then a third place where they go to sort of hang out. A lot of people want the gym. Now, a lot of gym owners want it to be the gym, and that's great, very healthy place. The limitation to that with most people is they're all inside. You work inside. You go to your house that's inside. You go to your gym that's inside. It's just not healthy. There's so much benefits to being outside, vitamin D and getting in the grass and the sunlight and the fresh air. So that I think is the biggest thing with boot camp. I'll touch on a few other of these points here, but just being outside is the more that online things become more prevalent, getting out, there's going to be value in getting outside and getting around with other people there. So it'll be huge with the boot camp. And just a couple of the other things on here: high intensity interval training, virtual training, training with free weights, personal training. It's like, if you knock off these 10 things, if you run a boot camp where it's kind of got the online component as well, it's going to tick off all of those. But if I had to pick the two biggest, it would be the outdoor side of things, because everything is so online and inside now. There's advantages to getting outdoors, and then also the community side of things as well. That's I think the world was going that way anyway, but especially with COVID, a lot more people are working online. Let's use me as an example, right? I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. I work from home in my 1-bedroom apartment. Sometimes the only time I get out of my apartment and actually speak to another human being is when I go to the boot camp that I train at now. So that's the further advantage of a boot camp that a gym wouldn't have, that online training wouldn't have, to get in for those people that are already working online, already working from home, for them to get around other people. There's value in that. And I will pay extra for that. I'm essentially paying to get around people, right? And that's a huge advantage of outdoor boot camps moving forward.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love how you brought every one of those back to boot camps. And I think it was Ursa in the States that talked about boot camps making a resurgence. I believe that, I'm trying to think back now, maybe 10 years ago, there was a bubble of boot camps out here that they kind of already saw their peak before. So maybe around 2012, 2011 out here, they were kind of fading out, and boutique fitness was starting to grow even more. And this was around when I started my boot camp. So of course I looked at things to make the experience much more different for an outdoor boot camp. I think a lot of the things that you just touched on also go with the experience and also what it brings to the table compared to the other one. So that brings that experience for them. With community experience, how do you think that somebody can take those items and implement them in a way that it's easier for them? I think that Fit Pros, a lot of them have trouble with technology, all that kind of stuff. Do you think that they should look at all of them, or should they just start with one and try to really focus on one?
Yes, good question. Let me think of the best way to answer this. Short answer, yes. Focus on one at a time, 100%. And I'm just trying to think of the best tactical way to give an answer here. Yeah, okay, cool. So I think you hit the nail on the head there with experience, Tyler. Yeah. So most people that don't work out, it's usually one or two reasons. It's either time. They'll say it's time, but I actually think it's enjoyment. Right. I actually think, because really time's BS. We know it's BS. Everyone's got the same amount of, it's just what you prioritize, right? But if something's that you hate, and you really don't, even though you know it's good for you, you're going to put it down the bottom, right? But if it's something that you enjoy, you're going to put it up the top. So, and that's where experience comes into it. And this is one thing that I found is done a lot better in America than in Australia, is the experience. I went to a cycle studio, or I went to a gym over there, and there was a cycle class, and I just went for the fun of it. I was like, I'll work out, I'll do this class, and it was amazing. It was like I went in there, and like the trainer was this like Austrian woman, sounded like Arnold Schwarzenegger, had this crazy hair, tattoos everywhere. She was yelling at people. She had a water pistol. She was squirting people with a water pistol. There was loud dance music. And I was like, man, that was an experience. Oh, and by the way, I exercised as well. So I think that's the key there. So I think in terms of like a boot camp person, yeah, just one thing at a time. Just look at it and be like, okay, I guess I look at it more from a retention side of things. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's say I had 50 clients, and I like to run in blocks, like a 12-week block. So let's say, all right, cool. I've got 50 clients and only 40 of them came back for the second 12 weeks. Why did those 10 people not sign up? Let me find out those 10 things there and now I've got 10 things that I can improve. I'm going to look at those things because, there might be a big thing. It might be like, well, I don't want to train in a school hall. I want to train at a gym. Well, I'm not going to get a gym anytime soon. So let me see what's the next one I can look at there. Or even just, I'm a huge fan of surveys as well, right? Where let's say you've got 50 members, you're running a 12-week challenge. At week 6, send out a member survey. The questions I like is on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you, and this is a simplified version, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you enjoying this boot camp? 1 being you hate it, 10 being you love it. Whatever the answer is there. Next question from there is, what's your favorite part of it? So that way I've got data on what the favorite part is, so I don't take that away. But then the third question, the most important one, is if you gave me less than a 10, what could I do to make it a 10? All right. And then I've just got a whole list of answers there as well. And then I just work through them one by one by one. So that's, does that answer the question?
Yeah. Oh, no, it answers it and more. That's the part about this podcast that I love, is when a guest dives into it, but then gives the steps for someone to apply right away. I think too many times we listen to podcasts and we just hear the superficial stuff, but when the guest really gives those, here's how you do it, here's the game plan, and here's the why, and the ways that people take that information and can apply it, it's gold. It's literal gold for them and their business. So I love it. I love how you answered that. And it's a good segue too to our next question. One of the things that I know we wanted to talk about is your 4 steps to success with a boot camp. Can you jump into those?
Yes, for sure. I'll just preface this a little bit as well and say that these 4 steps, the assumption is that you're already a good personal trainer. So these are like, you're a good personal trainer, you're a good trainer now, or a good bootcamp instructor. Now it's, how can we make this bootcamp a successful thing? So I won't be speaking too much about, hey, you got to have good workouts, you got to be a good trainer. It's more about, I'm assuming you're a good trainer, you got good workouts, but you got 10, 15 people in this bootcamp and you can't grow it. What do you need to make it successful? So I'll give the overview of the 4, and then we'll break through. We'll go through them one by one, and let me know if you want me to expand on any of them. But essentially, the 4 steps is the product or the program, the marketing, the sales, and the retention. I'll give a quick 101 on each, and then we'll dive in. So by the program, I mean, what are you essentially selling? If you're just selling, hey, it's, meet me at the park and bring $20, it's not a, that's what drug dealers do. It's not good if you're not good if you're at the middle of the morning, meet me at the park at 5 a.m. with cash. That's is it a drug dealer or a personal trainer? So and I touched on this earlier, where it's like, here's the program. It's $50 a week. You get your 5 or 6 sessions. You also get, what are these other things that you bring in? And with these other things as well, what's important as a personal trainer is to try and make these as leveraged as possible, because it's very easy to be like, yeah, it's $50 a week, and I'll give you a goal setting session every couple of weeks, and I'll give you a one-on-one nutrition consult every single week, and I'll, go and write you an individualized program every single. You run out of time. So it's kind of like, what are the things I can do that'll leverage? That's where the online things comes into it. I touched on earlier, but I'll just go again. Like a 12-week home program is a good one, 12-week gym program, some basic nutrition guidelines, clean eating recipe ebook, clean eating smoothie and shake ebook. Maybe it's and even with that nutrition ebook, it doesn't need to be like a nutrition book. Most people want simple sort of things where it's like, and you can even break that down into a few different ebooks, right? Hey, here's how to eat healthy on a budget. Hey, here's how to eat healthy when going out. Hey, here's how to read food labels. Maybe sort of guides, hey, here's the guides of the healthy local restaurants in the area. Even your recipe ebooks can be your healthy breakfast, your healthy lunch, there's so much content there. And even with that can be overwhelming for trainers. Don't get it all at once. Just do one at a time. Right. And all of it can sort of be broken down. Let's use the 12-week home program as an example, right? Could be as simple as this. Let's say, hey, Tyler, sign up for my bootcamp. You also get a 12-week home program. The way you get that home program is every week I'll send you a workout you can do at home. So that way I don't need to create the 12 weeks now. I just create week number 1 now. And then Sunday night at, before I go to bed at 7:59, I'll create the next one. And then I'll create the next one. And then at the end of the 12 weeks, now I've got it and I never have to do it again. And then I might create a new one. Now I might do a 7-day ab program that they get, and I do that. The recipe ebook, you can leverage off your clients for that. Instead of you trying to come up with 100 different recipes, you've got 20 clients in your boot camp. Hey, people, I'm putting together a clean eating recipe ebook. If everyone can just provide me one recipe, I'll collate it and then I'll give you a free copy, right? There's your 20 recipes there. There's easy ways you can do it. The challenge sort of stuff, can work really well. Just a closed Facebook group. The ones I like are the ones where the participants have to do all the work, as it should be. They're the ones that, they're the ones that want to get the results. So they like the walking challenge is a good one. All right, guys, this week we're doing the walking challenge. Everyone's got your phones. A lot of you have, watches and whatnot anyway. Either way, it all tracks your stepping. Doesn't count your training. Don't bring your phone to training and try and count this. This is outside of a training. I'm going to make a post here. You're going to comment your name underneath. All you need to do is just write down how much kilometer, go and walk. And at the end of the day, you write down your kilometers there. All right. I'm doing absolutely nothing. I did one Facebook post, right? But I'm providing the accountability for my clients to go and walk because they know they need to, go on the Facebook, post it in there. And if they post, I walked, 1 kilometer today or 1 mile, if you're over in the US, it's going to be like, hey, Tyler, why'd you only do 1? So there's that there. The no sugar challenge is a good one as well. Hey guys, we all know that sugar isn't great for us. Let's just be aware of what we track. Everyone download MyFitnessPal and just for 1 week, I know it's a pain in the ass, but just for 1 week, just write down everything you eat, write down how much sugar you have under this post here, just so you're aware. So it's getting my clients really good. My clients are getting, like, we do the weigh-in after no sugar week, and it's the best time to do the weigh-in after someone's given up sugar for a week, right? So it gives them good results there. But it's just adding extra value without me doing anything. I'm making one Facebook post, and that's my take on value as well. I think a lot of people think value needs to be posting information, and there's an element of that. Of course there is. My take on that is if I can get someone to be aware on how much sugar they're eating every single week, be aware the next week how much water they're drinking, the next week how much they're stepping, that's just as much value. I can tell them, hey, walk more, or I can say, hey, just track your walking, so that it's a good way to give value there. So that's number one. Make sure it's not just the $10 meet me at the park. What's like a program that you can charge for that's going to have more value, but without you doing a lot of work there. And also with that as well, I like to sell minimum 12 weeks for a few different reasons. Number one, I feel I need that to be able to build a relationship with someone. It's kind of like, you sign up for a month. It's like you miss a few sessions here, you miss a few sessions there, you're canceling next month. But if you're committed for 12 weeks, I know that I can build that relationship with you. And I know that, okay, I'll send you a couple text messages the first week, I know I've got time to build that relationship. I don't need to overwhelm you. I don't need to stress you or anything like that. And then just the financial side of things. Like if I'm selling, $50 a week, or it's $500 for a 12-week program or something like that, I can be a bit smarter with my budgeting. I can be like, all right, I'm going to get this $500 and I'm going to put it on Facebook ads, because all I need is one client and I've made my money back. What if I get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5? I'm going to be, it's going to be a good investment there. But if I'm just selling the casual sessions or the 10 packs for $100 or whatever, it's harder for me to budget and generate cash. So that's step number one. Does that make sense, Tyler? You want me to go deeper, or I'll move on to the next?
That's great right there. I felt like I was honestly going through some of the playbook in my past of why we did stuff with our boot camp. But the one I just want to comment before you continue on to the next one is with the sessions, the connection there, making a connection within 12 weeks. I know that we did month, so 4 weeks, take a break, come back, and allowing yourself 12 weeks now to make a connection. It's a gold mine right there. You don't have to stress yourself to get to know every single detail, to spend extra time with that new person over there, to try to integrate them into the group, into the community, all those steps. You have so much more time. And I like how you pulled that business element into it to be able to then reinvest some of that into your marketing aspect right there. Gold right there.
Awesome. Well, that transitions on to the next one, which is marketing. So, because it's all well and good to have this awesome program, but if no one knows about it, what's the point, right? And I think with a lot of fitness professionals, they'll use their social media to do sales and marketing, but they're kind of just hitting their friends and family over and over again. And that's fine. It's a good start place to go. But you also want to be growing and getting in front of new people as well. Let's say I've got, whatever it is, 200 friends on Facebook. Great. There's only so many times I can, make a post and sell to those 200 people, I also want to make sure, in 12 weeks time, maybe you got another 200 people I can reach. And it doesn't necessarily have to be my personal Facebook profile. It could be my Instagram. It could be my email list. It could be many different ways, right? So, but the key there is, what are we doing to consistently getting in front of new people? And point number 3 is sales. I'll spend a bit more time on marketing, but I want to make sure everyone listening has the distinction with marketing and sales, because a lot of people dump them together. Sales and marketing, I'll do some Facebook posts. It's like, my definition of marketing is, what am I doing to get in front of new people? How can I build my network? How can I build my audience? That's my definition of marketing. And then my definition of sales is like, okay, these people that already know me, what am I doing to bring them closer? So let's say, and where that's different to a lot of most people is, let's say you post on your personal profile about your bootcamp that's starting next week. A lot of people would consider that marketing, right? You're marketing your bootcamp, but I'd consider that more sales, because it's kind of like, well, these are people that already know you. You're just trying to get them over the line. So it's, that's my take on sales. And you can define it either way, but as long as you're doing something to build the audience there. So that's the marketing. And are you okay if I dive into it now, Tyler? I know we're going to discuss it later, but it might make sense if we just do it now while we're here. So with marketing, a bootcamp anyway, or any marketing, right? You got sort of free strategies and you got paid strategies. Mm-hmm. Now, advantages and disadvantages both ways. The advantage of free marketing is that it's free. No, you don't have to pay any money. But the disadvantage is that it takes time. You're paying with your time to get. And here I'll just stress again, I'm talking about getting in front of new people. I'm not talking about doing a Facebook post and getting your friends and family. I'm talking, how are you going to get an extra 100 people into your network next month for free? It's going to take time. You need to spend hours networking or posting or connecting or whatever it may be, right? Paid is the flip side to that. It sucks because you got to pay money or invest money, but it's very little time. So I'll cover both, but I prefer paid because I can set up a Facebook ad in about 5 minutes and I can instantly get new people coming into me, entering their details in, saying, hey, give me more info. And with the paid side of things, it's kind of like, it costs money, but a good ad should make you money back. So I'll use the formulas that I use as an indication. Let's say you charge $500 for your bootcamp. I would recommend, to start with anyway, that's your ad spend. Put $500 on your Facebook ad to promote your 12-week bootcamp. Now, with the Facebook ad, what we're doing is getting leads. We're not necessarily going for sales straight away because it's a colder audience. It's kind of like, it's easier for me to sign up my friend for my bootcamp because they know me and trust me, to someone that's never heard of me, right? But with those figures, $500, a good Facebook ad, if you use my formula anyway, you should get about 50 leads minimum. 50. Conservatively 50 leads, right? Now, obviously not all of them are going to sign up because they've never heard of you before. Conservatively, again, it should be about 10%. Even if you suck at sales, there's a certain amount of people that are like, 12-week bootcamp, it's down the road. I need to do it. Yes, I'm in. The price is okay. Yep, sign me up. There's a percent, as long as you don't stuff it up, right? As long as you actually give them a call, you present your thing, it should be about 10%, which is about 5 sales. So on that there, it's kind of like you put in $500 to make $2,500 back on the front end, which is a $2,000 profit. Why would you not do it? There's no reason not to, providing all that works and in place. And you obviously need to know how to set the ad and what works and that, but it's not that hard to set up. It's not that hard to I shouldn't say it's hard. Like, I know because I've got the system, right? It's like I've been doing it for years. I know what works, what doesn't work. So for me, it's easy, but if that's essentially the easiest way to do it, and it gets better because that's just on the front end. Really, if you're a decent trainer, most of those five people that signed up, at least 3 or 4 of them are going to sign up for your next 12 weeks and your next. The average I found for trainers across Australia anyway is about 9 months. So your average person that signs up, obviously some sign a bit more, some a bit less, but your average person about 9 months. So it's actually more than that. But the bigger win is actually those 45 people that didn't sign up. Because just because they didn't sign up today doesn't mean they've never heard of you. They were probably scrolling through their phone. They're watching Home and Away, or what's the popular TV? They're watching Squid Games on Netflix. They were scrolling through that. Oh yeah, I'll put my They've forgotten the next day. But that doesn't mean they're never going to sign up. They're people that are in your local area, and have at least had some interest in signing up, great. You bring a friend week at half, or you open week at halfway through, send an email to these 50 people that didn't sign up. Your next 12-week challenge, you don't have to run a Facebook ad. You should, because you're going to make money back at the zero. But even if you don't, there's those 50 people that didn't sign up 12 weeks ago. They've now been following you. They've now been getting your emails. They're seeing your posts. Now they're warmed up. Now they're all of a sudden not a cold lead. There's someone that's been following you and knows you, and they've either unsubscribed or they're still following you, so they like you. So that's the key there. If you can run the perfect Facebook ad, I've got a formula for that. If we've got time, I'm happy to run through it, Tyler, but I know you've got a schedule you want to run through. So I'll skip over that. And if we've got time at the end, I'm happy to cover that.
Take it.
And if people are thinking, oh, but I just don't have $500, Jono, or can I just start with organic? You can. It's just going to be a longer process because you just can't turn on an ad and get 50 leads. You can't just make a post and get 50 people that have never heard of you inquire in 2 weeks or a week or whatever. But the easiest way I've found organically is to leverage off community Facebook groups, because there's a bunch of people there that are already in your community. The key is to do it in a way that's not spammy, because a lot of people don't like those groups because, like, man, I'm in this community group and it's just people trying to sell their business. So I'll just a couple tips on how to what I found has been effective. Yeah. Number one is, even instead of just posting, is just to network and actually be a good member of the community. So if I was to go on my community, I checked just before because I'm giving a presentation on this later. The first post that came up is, hey people, I want to give my 5-year-old kid a haircut. Does anyone know a good hairdresser in the local area that's kid friendly? Right. The one under that was like, hey, I'm thinking of, taking my kid to this preschool. Anyone got any ideas? The under that was like, hey, I'm looking for an affordable cleaner in the area. Does anyone know anyone? Right. The goal is to be a good member of the community. Now, if you're a trainer, you should have local business. You should know a hairdresser. You should know a cleaner. You should probably know a few of the local kids centers as well, right? So that person that's asking the hairdresser, hey, Tyler, yep, I know this woman, Maria. She's awesome. Here's her Facebook page. I'll also send you a DM with her number if you want. Give her a call. Say, you know me. She'll look after you. I'm not trying to sell my bootcamp, but I'm making a contact there and I'm just helping that person out. The cleaner, hey, here's my cleaner Val. She's awesome. Here's her Facebook page. I'll send you a DM with her number as well. Say that you know me. She'll look after you, right? Helping those people out there. Now, you put good in, you get good out. But even just from an algorithm side of things, now when I actually make my sales post in there, I'm not a guy that's only going in there to try and sell. Oh, that's Jono. He helped me out with that hairdresser. Like Jono, they might tag their friends. Hey, Maria, you were interested in signing up. This guy's great. The person that I helped with the cleaner. Oh, that's Jono. Oh, he helped me out with that. You know what? I am going to sign up with his thing. So just from like that side of things, it's going to be better. And even just from the algorithm, like you make a post in Facebook, who knows who's going to see it? But if I've already got a connection with those people, we've sent some messages before, we've liked each other, Facebook's going to be like, oh, these two know each other. Yeah, I'll show Tyler this post here. So there's that there. You still obviously need to do the sales, or you can't just help people out and hope that they're magically going to find you. You need to do some sales there as well. Also, giving away a freebie can work as well, where it's just like, hey guys, I've put together this free ebook. There's that recipe ebook that your clients made for you anyway. Hey, you got this recipe ebook. Who wants it? Right? People comment below. Okay, they might not buy right now, but to get it, they've got to enter their email address. Right? So now you're building your email list there as well. I like to do it in the direct message as well, because it's just like, it gives me another option, because now it's like I can start a conversation in the direct message, or maybe it's bring a friend week. If I've got a list of 20 people that I had a DM with, I can go, hey, Tyler, remember I sent you that recipe ebook, 6 weeks ago? It's actually bring a friend week at my bootcamp. Did you want to come down? Right? Or I can send the email, but that's the option there. Or the best one in those groups is actually your clients, because there's only and a few different ways you can do it. Ideally, you want your clients in that group. So when someone posts, hey, I'm looking for a place to train, I'm looking for a personal trainer, I'm looking for a gym, I can go in there and be like, yeah, I'm a trainer. I'll send you a message. I'm just trying to sell my stuff. There's only so much respect there, If I've got 5 or 6 of my clients, oh, you got to train at Tyler's Outdoor Bootcamp. at Tyler. He's the guy you got to see.
Yep.
Just a social proof that, oh shit, everyone in this area trains with Tyler. I better train with Tyler, so you can get your clients in there. And also if they can post a testimonial, or if they can post testimonials, right? So let's say I can go in there and be like, hey, I got a 12-week boot camp. Who's interested? That's going to get some people in. Some people are going to go for that. But if I can get a client that can post a photo of themselves, ideally before and after, but even if it's not just a photo, hey, just want to give Jono a shout out. Anyone that's in the Cogra area, he runs this awesome boot camp. Since training there, I've lost 5 kilos. I've made this awesome friend. It's so great. If you want a place to train, go and train. That's so much more powerful than I do it. And once again, it's less work because I don't need to, what am I going to post today? So, and if you can get a few of those, every month you got a different client posting that, sooner or later, people, man, this guy's just got endless clients. And then if you combine it with the paid ads, because ideally you're hitting the same people, right? The same people that are in that community Facebook group are probably the same people that are going to see your paid Facebook ad. Now, when they see that's that Jono guy. I've seen it. He helped me out in the Facebook group. Oh, that my friend posted about him in the face. So it can work well together there. So that's the marketing side of things. That may not necessarily help you get 50 people tomorrow, but it's setting you up so that, because it's kind of like if you're speaking about, what can I post today to make sales? Well, what have you been doing for the past 3 months to build your network, So that's the marketing side. Do you want me to go any deeper there, Tyler, or does that?
Just one piece that I want to comment on, because it's important for people to understand this, that if they've never done Facebook ads, there's a difference between a cold audience and somebody that has already heard of you, seen you, and already explored your website, explored your social media. Because I think that's where a lot of people will falter with Facebook ads, because they think, I ran one before. I didn't get any results from it. Well, you're selling something cold to somebody. They have no idea who you are, what you're doing, what your service is. And you just expect all these people to sign up because you spent X amount of dollars on it. That's not really how. Do you do that? Do you just see something automatic? Yeah, boom. Here is all my money. Yeah. It takes some work with it. So what you just provided there was realistic steps that people can take with ads and add fuel to it to increase that amount. Because exactly what you said, if somebody has already seen you on a community page and seen people talking about you, and all of a sudden they see your ad, then it's no longer cold. They've already heard all the positive results, heard all that stuff, that now they're more inclined to purchase. And just going back to what I started this small little rant about, was if you didn't see results, think about why. It's because they'd never even heard of you. And it's going to take some time, experience, making your ads better, the copy, the image, whatever it is. It's going to take time. And so to base it off of just one, in your mind, failed Facebook ad, it's not realistic, but keep going.
Yeah. Well, I'll piggyback off that just for a sec as well. It's kind of like, even with that, where I shared there, because when I say this to a lot of trainers, and even when they share the results, they're like, Jono, I used your ad and like no one signed up. Only like 5 out of 50 signed up. 45 people didn't sign up. That's a bad ad. I'm like, but you got a 5 times ROI. Like you put in $500, you make 5 times back. Look at that side of it. It's like you're better financially and you've got a list there. Because there's 2 ways you can look at it. Oh man, 45 people didn't sign up. It's kind of like it's a cold audience, right? As long as you're making your money back and building the list, that's fine. So wanted to adjust that. Okay, so the next point is sales. So marketing is great. We need to get in front of more people, but we also need to have a sales strategy as well. And there's many different ways you can do it. I like the phone selling, because I find that like email, it's just not personal enough, not for a cold audience anyway. Like if you send out that say, let's use the Facebook ad one, you get 50 ads. You just send out emails and you don't call the person, the results aren't going to be as good as calling the person. Now, I'm not a fan of the in-person consult or the free trial, just because it's time consuming with that amount of leads anyway. I just want, right, here's 50 people. Let me spend a couple of weeks, I'll give them all a call. If they don't answer, they're not interested, that's fine. See you later, bye. It's just much quicker on the phone there. But it's important to have a sales script that you follow and know how to sell. And also know, I don't like the word objection handle, but just know that they're going to come up, because you're going to have a conversation with someone, and 50% of the time they're going to say, looks great, but money, time, partner, think about it, send me an email, right?
Yep.
Like, that's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
So just have a reply and that's a whole nother topic, right? Sales objections, we can go deeper in that as well. But the message across here, and it's let me simplify it. Yeah. Okay. The message here is just like the easiest way I found to sell is via the phone, especially if it's off a Facebook ad. Even if it's off your own personal profile as well, I still like to, you're interested, Tyler? Yep, no dramas. Give me a buzz. And what's your number? I'll give you a buzz and go through it. It's obviously an easier sale if it's someone that's on your personal profile or whatever it may be, than it is a Facebook ad. But the message I just want to share there is to be to have a sales process in place. I'd love to go deeper, but I can't really go deeper without sort of being like, here's the exact thing to say, and here's the exact objection. Anything you want me to expand on there, Tyler?
No, I think it's a great tip just right off the bat. And I think that the personal touch of it, I think, is the takeaway from it. I can't tell you how many times I've heard in the last 3 months, just people venting about customer service, how hard it is to get somebody on the phone, to get information about a business that they want to spend money at. So if you are taking that step to jump on the phone with them, talk with them, in my mind, you're already putting yourself out there for a sale, because you're doing stuff that other companies aren't doing right now. And how many times have you tried to, and I'm not trying to compare a small business to like Facebook or a bigger business, but how hard is it to get some people on the phone sometimes? And I can't tell you how many times just doing the small things as a small business owner, returning phone calls quick, calling somebody, how much people appreciate that just because of how much that isn't as common these days. So I think that's a great takeaway before we move to the next one.
Awesome. Okay. And the final point is retention and referrals. So all this stuff we've done above is great, but if people just sign up for the 12 weeks and then see you later, bye, it's just so much effort and revolving doors. Ideally, you want to get all these new people in and you want to keep them there. That's how you win. Now, in terms of a boot camp, retention, in my experience, it comes down to 3 things. Number 1 is how much they like the trainer. Number 2 is how much they like the other participants. And number 3 is how much fun they're having. So if you can if you can do those 3 things, people will never leave. They will never go for the cheaper place. They will never, because it's essentially their social as well. So let's even have a look at those 3 things there. The first one is how good their relationship is with the trainer. If you don't have a good relationship with your client, they're not coming back. It's as simple as that, right? And most trainers are usually pretty good at that. If you're not, okay, something to work at. And even still, all the time, just keep thinking, what can I do to build a better relationship? What can I do to build a better relationship? The stronger that relationship is, the longer that person will stay. Now, that'll only get you so far, right? You sign up at a boot camp, you love the trainer, but you can't stand everyone else. You're not going to stay there for too long, right? And that's where a lot of trainers aren't as good as what they could be, right? They spend a lot of time, them and the client, that's great, but there should be just as much time spent client to client. How can you get your clients interacting as much as possible? And there's a whole heap of things you can, that's where the Facebook group comes in handy. That's where games come in handy. That's where I would get to the obsessive point. Before my bootcamp would start, I would specifically set up my tables and chairs so that when people arrive, they've sort of got no choice but to sit down next to someone else and then start talking. Because if you don't do that in today's world, someone's in that corner on their phone, someone's in that corner on their phone. So just to the obsessive, I would take it to the point where I want every single person in my boot camp to know each other and be friends with each other. And some people don't like that. Great, get the hell out of my boot camp. Because it's kind of like the people I want in my boot camp are the people that want to hang around other people and meet other people, because they're the people that are then going to get more friendly and invite their friends and then want to join to the new person and then want to meet, and that builds the experience. So let's say there's 20 people. There could be 20 people that don't want to speak to anyone. They just want to go in there and do their workout and go out. Or there's 20 people that love hanging around people and want to hang out on weekends and go out. I'll pick those 20 people for a boot camp any day, because I know that's going to have a better experience there. That's the other thing to think about. How can I get my clients to like each other? And then the third thing is fun. because same sort of thing. They can like you, they can like everyone else, but if they're bored as anything in your session, it's only a matter of time before they leave there. So they're the 3 tips. We can go deeper, but I want to be sensitive of your time, Tyler. And I think it's a good overview for everyone. Just like, what can I do to make sure they like me? What can I do to make sure they like each other? What can I do to make sure they're having fun? The key point there is that middle one, liking each other. Yeah. And even what can happen a lot in boot camps is cliques. And this is where a lot of trainers struggle with when that around that 20-person mark. They'll get about 20 people in their boot camp and they'll have a good core 10 people, but those 10 people become really close. They go out on weekends. They invite each other to each other's weddings. And then there's left out people. There's 10 people, well, I'm not one of these 10, so I'm not in here. And you sort of get capped there. But if you can get every single, it's hard to explain, but there's a big difference between having a core 10 people and having 50 people that are like a football team. That's essentially what I go for. It's like, I know you're a football fan, Tyler. It's kind of like you join a football team. It's not just about the football. You like the people in there, you like hanging around. It's that whole community. And it's not just the core 10 people and then no one else. It's a whole community. So there's that there. Yeah. And I'll just touch on referrals as well. Obviously, if you do a good job, referrals will come. But what can really help there is the bring a friend week. So every single time I've run to start, I didn't know what I was doing, so I didn't get any. But once I learned to system, every bring a friend week was like just as good as a Facebook ad. Like I knew when I ran a bring a friend week, I'd get 50 leads. I'd get even more than because they were now warmer leads because they're referrals, right? And just the key there is to plan that bring a friend week. The first time I bring a friend week, I just said, it's bring a friend week. If you want to bring a friend, bring a friend. And I think like 2 or 3 people brought a friend, didn't get their details or anything. They just brought a friend and then I never heard from that friend again. And I didn't plan for it. I think I had on that session, I think the session I had planned was my death by cardio session. So, you're a newbie that comes in for Bring a Friend Week and people have already been training there for 6 weeks and your first week is death by cardio. You're not coming back. But then I learned a few things and I was like, all right, cool. I need to spend a couple of weeks promoting this, and I need to, it's not just one, hey guys, bring a friend next week. It's a couple of weeks of text messages and emails and telling people at the session, posting in the Facebook group and everyone, hey, Tyler, it's bring a friend next week, right? You got a form to bring. Oh, here's the form. Just, bring as many friends as you want, and they return the form. I've now got all these leads, even if those friends never come, which half of them never do because it's fitness, right? The friend drags them in and then they pull out last minute, but now they're on my database and then I can market to them forever, even though I've never seen them, never heard of them. It's a free lead there. And also I can follow up beforehand. I can actually say, hey, Tyler, you're Alex's friend. Are you coming tomorrow? Oh, you can't make it. Hey, no dramas. Here's the details. If you ever want to sign up, I've got you on my email list. Add me on Facebook. Or if you do sign up or if you do train for the week, Tyler, I just wanted to touch base. How'd you like training? Oh, you loved it? Great. Hey, we're actually doing a special little 6-week session thing just for the friends. Is that something you'd want to do? And I can actually have that sales process now because I've got those details there. And I also don't do death by cardio on that week there, but I also specifically plan it. When I'm planning my 12 weeks, that bring a friend week in week 6 is I make sure it's my most fun workouts. Because some workouts are more fun than others. It's like that week is the most fun week. So I almost fool these friends to be like, this is awesome. Every single week is fun. They do these games. They do these extra. I'm signing up here, I'm not saying the other 11 weeks suck, but I just purposely plan that week to be fun.
Yeah. That gold nuggets right there. Honestly, gold nuggets, strategy, all that packed into all that good stuff there. The one that I'm just going to briefly touch on is with the groups. And we mentioned a little bit about the cliques. And one piece that I was always taught was to also try and find like your champion in your group that always welcomes new people, gives them all the positive stuff that you can count on, that they're not going to say anything negative. They're always going to make sure that everybody feels welcome. And those are the people that you want to make sure that you let them know that you're special to this group, reward them, all that kind of stuff, because they're helping you do your job, grow your business, all that kind of stuff. And it just makes such a bigger difference when it's coming from somebody else within the group that's not the owner. And there's people like that they want to welcome people. They want to help grow the group. They want to help you because you took all those steps before. And creating a positive experience for them, making them help experience something healthier in their life. All these things that you already did, they want to give it back and they will do that for you. So a lot of positive stuff right there. Now we're going to get to the podcast takeaways. A lot of great stuff that is in this podcast already. I honestly have to thank you before we even get to the podcast takeaways for all the nuggets that you shared right there. These are amazing tips for people to, I hope they were taking notes. They probably will need to go back and take notes, and they can apply them right away. And not even all of them were for boot camps. I feel like people can use this in their training business because these are solid business tips. So as we get to the podcast takeaways now, the preface that I give for it is always about where I got them. I got these from a documentary that I watched where a gentleman did 50 Ironmans in 50 states. I feel like I've said this so many times that I hope eventually this gets back to the individual, and maybe he gives me a shout out on Twitter because that's where I got them. But he did 50 Ironmans in 50 states in 50 days. And he was asked this question, similar question about Ironman competitions. Jono, in your experience, what are 3 myths about the fitness industry?
Yes, good question. Okay, so I wrote down a heap of them, and I couldn't come down to 3, but I'm just going to have a look at them now and come up with the best 3 here.
Let's hear them.
So number 1, I would say that you don't necessarily need to be the fittest person out there. I think that's a misconception. It depends how you look at it. I think that you obviously need to have some level of fitness, right? You need to have some level of thing in there, but it's not necessarily that the fittest person wins there, right? Most people aren't going to go by that. It's about how good of a trainer you are. And it's almost like a coach side of things as well. It's going to be off topic, but it's kind of like the best players aren't always the best coaches. Is that the same in America as well, Tyler?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
exactly. So same sort of thing with trainers, right? Can you get that person to get that result there? So you don't always need to be the fittest person there. And sometimes it's actually better if you're not. Like if someone's super overweight, they've never exercised before, and you're ripped or you're, super fit or whatever, you can look at it and be like, that's easy for Tyler. Look at Tyler. He's jacked. I'm never going to be like that. So there can actually be an advantage to that there. So that's myth number 1. Myth number 2 is education. Now, this is interesting because I run an education company and so do you, Tyler. Mm-hmm. So, and I really value education. That's how I was able to get to the stage where I got to. The flip side to that, though, is it's not just about education. I used to think it was. My background, I'm an exercise physiologist, and I thought people were just going to sign up to my boot camp because I was the smartest. I was an exercise physiologist. I was one of the first in Australia, actually, one of the youngest as well. Didn't help me at all when it came to running a boot camp. It helped me a little bit. There were things in place that helped there, but it wasn't the sole thing there. And another one of my favorite quotes is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Mm-hmm. So I lead with that first. It's like, how can I show the person that I care? Oh, and he also knows what he's talking about there. So I am a huge fan of education, but just to say it's not you do your degree and then that's it. Or it's not just like you get your qualifications and then you just become a better trainer and you're going to magically have a successful business. There's soft skills involved in that as well.
Yep.
And I'll go for a bit of a controversial one here.
Oh,
I will say that, let me think of how to phrase this. All right. Well, when I started in the industry anyway, one-on-one personal training was kind of like the thing. It was like, if you're a personal trainer, you do one-on-one personal training. The only reason you do a boot camp is to get more one-on-one training clients, right? I think that's the biggest myth. I think one-on-one personal training is actually the worst business model in the fitness industry. Mm-hmm. I think that I'll take boot camp over it any day if done properly. And we'll just even run up a bit of the numbers here. Mm-hmm. An average boot camp is about $50 per week if you're getting 5 or 6 sessions a week. Australian dollars anyway. It's probably not too dissimilar in the US anyway. Mm-hmm. But say $50 a week there. In Australia, you're probably looking at, even if we be conservative, let's say that's a 30-minute PT session for $50, right? Let's say you want to work with 20 clients, or let's say you want to make $1,000. You need 20 clients either way. If you're doing it with boot camp, you do it in 5 or 6 hours. You just run a boot camp a day and you get 20 people there. If you're doing it with PT, you got to book 20 half an hour PT sessions, right? That's not too bad at 20. It's 20 half an hour. It's easy, right? What if you want to make $2,000 a week, right? Now you need to have, if it's boot camp, still, you just work 1 hour a day. You just get 40 people in each one of those, or over the week, whatever. You're doing one-on-one, you're going to run 40 different 30-minute PT sessions, right? That can be done. 40 can be done. That's about the limit I've found. What if you want to make $5,000? What do you do? Then you've only got so much time. So I think that I'll take boot camp over it any day. And I think the happy medium is small group training. So I think if you're like, I'm not a person, I don't want to train 50 people, I think the 4 people in there is a way to do it. But what's important there business wise is to still charge what most people would for PT. Because what a lot of people do is, I charge $80 an hour for PT, do small group, it's $30 for 4 people and I'm making $20 more. It's kind of not worth it. I think the other way is, hey, it's $80, it's a PT session, but there's 3 other people in there. And if someone's listening to this and they're like, but why would someone pay that for small group if you could pay that for one-on-one? It comes down to you as the trainer and the expertise as well. And let's just put it as an example. Let's say Tyler's a really good trainer. I would prefer to pay Tyler $80, even if there's 3 other people there, because I know he's better than, the one-on-one trainer over here. Or the other way is specificity. Let's say there's a gym and let's say Tyler's the athlete guy there. If you're an athlete, you train with Tyler, right? Actually, I'll use a different, let's say, because I think it's women's health is more a hotter topic. Let's say Tyler's the pelvic floor specialist. If you're a woman and you've got some pelvic floor issues, or you're maybe postnatal, you've got a choice. There's 5 trainers at the gym. All of them they've got different specialties, but Tyler's the pelvic floor specialist. You'll choose to train with Tyler, even if there's 3 other women in there, because he's going to get you the better results.
Love it. I love it. And of course, it does take some time to match those in terms of the numbers, the monetary wise, but I agree with you. I know that a reason why I had started a boot camp 10 years ago with a friend of mine was because of the potential for that, the potential to work less hours, but also make just as much. Yeah. And if done right, if following all the steps that you mentioned, which are gold, that you can build something where you're working less hours and now you're fitting it into your schedule, and you do have time for other things, that whether you are doing small group on top of it, a small amount of one-on-one, but you have that base, that amount of income that you really worked hard for. So I love that was the one that you finished on. Before we sign off on here, can you give all your social media links, all that kind of good stuff?
Yes, for sure. The best is probably my Facebook group, the Fitness Education Online Community Facebook group, or just type in Fitness Education Online on any platform and I'll come up. Or if you want my personal, just type in Jono Petrohilos. I'm not Mr. Creative, so it's just type in Fitness Education Online or Jono Petrohilos, and you'll find me on all the different ones.
Can you spell your last name for me, just to make sure?
Petrohilos.
Perfect.
It's the equivalent to like a Smith in Greece.
I not only have to give you props for the amount of information you shared today, but probably 2 of the best jokes that I've had in a podcast recording that I'll definitely be telling stories about after this one. So thank you for coming on the podcast, sharing so much. I really feel like this episode, people that are looking into 2022, looking at starting a boot camp, they need to look at your education, need to go sign up for your course, because it's such a great benefit. All the things you mentioned there, you're going to give them the steps to be successful. And thank you for sharing all that.
No, thank you for having me on, Tyler. Huge fan of yours, huge fan of KIPS. So thank you.